So.
Miles, and I am barely breathing.
That was like a typical day in Tatum's life, right?
So we want
The
to
typical day in Tatum.
shower you with candy once again. Do like if you get a bud, share with your neighbor and like the people in the back that we can't reach.
We can reach it. Let throw it higher, get more distance.
For the center right here.
Oh my gosh.
It was great to see the mingled look of terror and expectation. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Man, you can really throw starters far.
Hey! I think it fell on the ground.
Throw it back at you, Tatum.
Also, I love the people that are like, moping. Like, those Throw us the bags.
You could
have reached it.
I'm not even looking, like I'm just going like,
Use the horse, Caitlin. Use the horse. There you go, that's his fault. Go, banana.
Is that the open mouth roar?
Go home, Kate, when you're drunk.
This has been Attack on Titan Theater.
If we were Attack on Titan, you'd all be running away.
Tatum, you'd be the one that's running like this.
okay, so we want to maybe do a few more questions, and then Tatum has a question that we watch and then kill you and then him. Yes!
sitting at this table. But
Well, yeah, because I mean, you're a character then.
you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is my favorite line. I'm Haruki Fujioka. This is my favorite line from Ouran High School Bus Club. No. No way in hell, senpai.
See, no, there are lots and lots of beautiful lines, like practically every line in that episode that we just watched. But there's just something about the way she's just like, no, you cannot come to my house, senpai. It's just really funny. What about you?
I think I have two favorite trigger lines that come up when I get asked that question. The first one is, "What is it now, Daddy?" Because of the incredible difficulty of recording that line, we did like 100 takes. It felt like every time Caitlin's like, "It's still too sexy. What do you? It shouldn't be sexy." And I'm like, I don't know how else to say this. I don't just say, "Hey, Daddy, what's up?" unless it means something. Finally, it was like, all right, that was the least sexy of the 1,000 we've done. Let's just go with that and move on. And my other favorite Kyoto line is the one that as I was writing the show, not writing it, but I was time coding it for Monica, so I got to watch episode 8, which is the Let Me Teach You a Lesson with My Shirt Off episode. That was the one that introduced me to the show. I hadn't seen anything until that episode, and I was like, oh, this is a fun and weird, whimsical little, what the hell is going on? And so when he like corners her, it's like, you can always pay me back with your body. That was one of those, now, I know some of you are like, papers. If anyone ever says that to you in real life, kick them in the balls. It's not okay. Kyoya's, just kind of taking the temperature of the room, so to speak. But I love that moment, because that's a moment where your feelings for that character change a lot. You're like, there's a lot more going on in his little head than just being the guy with the glasses and the little black book. They're very complicated characters, and little moments like that let you know exactly how complicated and real. And so that line, I don't like it because I think it's sexy necessarily. I like it because it's that moment for me in the show where I was like, who is this guy? I really want to play him. And then began my long and arduous road towards bringing that character to life.
It was awesome. You did so great. It's my favorite thing you've ever done. I mean, I'm partial to this show.
I kind of feel like every time, like Caitlin is so much infused in that show, and from every aspect, that I feel like every time we mention it, like if you go in front of a mirror and say Ouran 3 times, she appears behind you and gives you candy. More coffee. It was really cool. Like when we were done, when we were wrapped on the show, she gave all of us these beautiful coffee mugs with rose petals and instant coffee.
Yeah, that was just yesterday. Instant coffee.
I still have it too. Not the instant coffee, that guy.
Yeah,
That's all good. But I still have the beautiful saucer and coffee.
Oh, that's so sweet. I think I like other people's lines as favorite lines over Haruki lines. And it's usually silly stuff, like I love Honey. I'm the Wolfman!
In a pumpkin head out. I love everything out of her dad's mouth.
Mike is so
It's such a brilliant performance.
Episode 10, when they come to Haruhi's house and meet Ronka for the first time, is honestly one of my favorites and one of my favorite recording experiences. Because Mike is both of our very good friend, and it's an extremely personal episode. I guess just for me, and then for Mike too. Like it was strange having someone that's my very good friend, who's also the producer of the show, playing my father, and knowing how much of a very close relationship Mike had with his father, who's since passed away, and then me never knowing mine, but getting to sit there on the booth side of things. I mean, the director's chair, where Mike is in the booth saying these beautiful things as a father about his daughter, which is me, and I'm just sitting there like crying, I've got tears, and Mike's like, when it takes over, he's like, "Sweetie, was that okay?" I'm like, "It's great." Yeah, and I still kind of get choked up anytime I watch that episode. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
What other questions have you got? How about way over here?
Is there ever a time where you watched yourself, like, when you just did, and you, like, I don't know, did I actually say it, or did I actually sound like that?
Like you kind of forget that it's you that you're listening to.
Or did you just feel awkward about it at some point?
It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, sometimes, I know the very first time I got to see the finished product of Ouran, we were premiering the first 3 episodes at a convention. It was me and Mike McFarlane and Greg Ayers were at this convention. They're like, hey, we're going to show, and it was a hometown convention in Dallas. So I was like, oh, cool, well, yeah, sure, I'll go. I was still kind of new to the industry at the time. I didn't have a lot of cons under my belt. And Kyoya was far and away the biggest character on the most popular property I'd ever touched at that point. So I was really, I had no clue. I had no clue what to expect and how huge the fandom was and how they were just chomping at the bit to see this show. So getting to see it for the first time by yourself is weird enough, at least for me, because you watch it and you're like, ooh, why did I say it like that? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, because, I mean, we're actors, we're filled with self-loathing and doubt. It's just comes with the territory. You learn to kind of get over it over time, because the more you watch yourself, the more you kind of acclimate to hearing yourself as an actor and not think, oh, my voice sounds so da-da-da-da. But the first time I watched it, we're in this room full of people, and the room kept growing. They had it in a room like this, and then there were so many people showing up. They're like, okay, we're moving it to this room. Oh, okay, we got to move it to yet a bigger room. And so by the time we were showing it, it was a room 4 times the size, completely packed with people, and I'm like, and we watched it, and it was a weird experience because I'm listening to myself going, God, everyone else sounds amazing. What the hell am I doing up there? And then, but then after a while, you start, people like yourselves come up and say, oh my God, you were so good, or blah blah blah, or say something about it, and you start learning, I guess, to hear it. I mean, you're always going to be your own worst critic, but I think if you begin hearing it through the people that are rooting for you, which is something I've learned to do, you start going, oh, yeah, that's not so bad. It must not be bad. There's a lot of really cool people out there that seem to love it, so I must have done something right.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but I think as an actor too, it's really important to kind of get used to hearing yourself, because that's how you learn to get better, or what you did right, what you did wrong. You have to grow. You have to. I'm a believer that you have to listen and watch your own stuff just to grow.
Sometimes I forget when I'm watching a thing. Like, I know that I'm Haruhi, but I really can just watch it as if I'm watching a show. I don't know how. It took time to get to that place. And sometimes I go, oh, that's right, that's me. That's so weird. Not because it doesn't sound like me. It sounds like me. Especially because after working on Ouran, being entrenched in it for about 6 months, and obsessed with getting the voice right, my own natural, everyday speaking voice has lowered. Not like I could always go that low, but naturally my voice wouldn't sit down there, and now it does. So people used to say, like, I can't imagine he was Haruhi, and now I think they can't really imagine me as anything else.
Right.
Which is fine, because she's fabulous.
Here's people are like, hey, can you say something as Haruhi? And you're like,
I'm talking
like her right now.
There's definitely a thing that I do, and I get to do it in a couple of other shows. Anywho, let's do like maybe 1 or 2 more. You had your hand raised. You look so cute. I love your costume.
Thank you. What's with the rumors about season 2?
What's the rumors about season 2? I've heard rumors, but they're all just totally unfounded on the internet type rumors. If anybody would know anything, it's those of us who work at Funimation, and I've heard no such thing about a season 2. And I know, it's really sad, but here's something I want to throw out there. What's so amazing about Ouran is how the fandom seems to keep growing even after all these years. A lot of shows that are super popular have like a huge thing, like right when they're brand new, but then 4, 5, 6, 8 years later, nobody, some people are like, oh yeah, I really liked that show once upon a time. Now I'm into such and such. Right. But Ouran is not the case. Yeah, it was gigantic. It was like explosive when it first came out. But every single convention I go to, I meet someone who says, Ouran was my first anime last week. Right. Like they just watched it. And so to us, it's still really fresh. But you have to think of where the show came from. When the show came out in Japan, it was 2006. 2006. Yeah. And so
you don't know, it could have like a 10-year anniversary event to come next year.
Yeah, and then we got it, we started working on it in 2008. In February of 2008. And finished by August 2008. So it's been over for a very long time. Granted, it was still popular enough in Japan that a number of years later they did the live action show. But even that was like 5 years ago. So the possibility of there being another like Ouran animated series gets slimmer by the day.
And I'll be honest, if I can interject here, I don't want there to be one, because I think one of the best things about the show as it is it knows where to stop. There's nothing more disheartening to me than getting really into something, whatever it is, be it a show or a movie that's like, oh my god, they should have ended like 2 seasons ago because they just didn't know where to end it. And there comes a time where the best way to end something is to just quit while you're ahead. And I would rather, and because of it, I think because it ends the way it does, with this wonderful open ending of like, you participate as an audience, you participate in, well, you kind of create your own ending, you talk about it, so the show's not wrapped for any of us. It's still out there, it's like it's still on because we didn't get, there was so much that was left unresolved on purpose. And I think that's so much smarter than giving us a clear resolution, because I think once that happens, it's easy to compartmentalize. And
Yeah,
put aside,
and
oh,
the
that was a
life
great
of the show
and
doesn't continue afterwards. Like maybe if it kept going and kept giving you everything that you wanted, the fandom wouldn't be so big. They wouldn't need to come and see us at panels and have us act step out because they have everything they want in this little Blu-ray.
I think the show is wonderfully challenging and wonderfully conceived, and I think it grows with everyone who watches it. Because I know I can go back and watch it, and have done the entire show many times. And every time I get, it's a new experience for me. I think I know what's coming, and then I'm like, oh, I never thought about it like that. That's a different angle. Like, there's a lot of little sneaky things, subversive, wonderful, very thoughtful things in the show that only become clear to you as you grow as a person. When you watch it, and you go. So it's a very different experience watching that when you're very young versus when you watch it again when you say your college years or whatever. You're like, oh my god, I didn't think about that. I don't know. That show's given me a lot of perspective of my own years in school that I didn't have at the time, which is it's one of the best representations of that time in a young person's life I've ever seen. It's just, for all the zaniness and all the crazy outward trappings that none of us can relate to, like the super wealth and the big school walls. There's so much truth in every single one of those characters, and the dynamic within the group is so much in there that's like, it's just hard to describe, but it just resonates with all of us. We're like, oh my god, I know people like that. Oh my god, I played that role within my group of friends, or that and the other. And it's so friggin' real, despite itself, because it goes to such pains to be over the top, and yet, it's a fantastic show. I can talk about it for hours.
Okay, everyone's been so patient. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll watch. So we'll try and keep our answers short. Okay, short answers, go.
Okay, so my friend tried to get me into the anime for years now, and now she's not here, so can I take a selfie with you both really quick to make her jealous?
Yeah, let's do it like when the episode's on.
Yeah.
Cool. Cat pajamas again.
How do you feel about the fact that Kyoya ended up getting a cat?
We got a cat. You mean in the show, in the manga? I think that makes sense.
He seems like a cat person.
He does seem like a cat person. If Tamaki's got a dog, Kyoya is a cat.
Yeah.
It's just, yes.
Opinions on Tamakyo?
Tamakyo, like, what do I think about them together?
Yeah.
No.
No, because Tamaki's straight. I mean,
Tamaki's so straight.
Kyoya may not be. But for
He's a little kinky.
I think Kyoya, there's a point in Kyoya's life where he's definitely infatuated with Tamaki, but I think he's that friend, he's the straight friend that every gay boy falls in love with and goes, I love you, but I'll never have you, so let's just be friends. and like, yeah, that's in my opinion, that's clearly what's going on. Why else would he put up with all that crazy? Unless he felt something other than, I mean, he feels, completes some part of himself that no one else can do. So yeah, I had a friend just like that in high school, by the way, a crazy rich blonde kid who I loved and he was great, and he was my first heartbreak. But we were best friends, and we're still best friends now, and so I totally get that dynamic. Totally get that dynamic.
Right here.
How would you imagine Ouran would be if they had Facebook?
Social media. That's another thing that makes the show
Or on
work. Like,
Facebook
if it were made and just a few years later, I mean, really, Facebook being crazy didn't start until 2007. Do you know that? Like, and when like iPhones were invented, just 2007. You know, so their whole world would be different.
It's hard to imagine a bunch of teen drama in the whole Facebook exchange, because it'd be a show with a bunch of kids sitting on a couch going,
Right? Yeah. I think if they had it, that Kyoya would probably inflict some like very strict rules about Facebook usage for host club members. And if anything, they might have a page, so not a personal wall, but like the host club Facebook page, like us on Facebook. And then he would probably manage all of the profiles. Yeah. Like, you think you're chatting with Odyssey, but it's really not. It's him or someone he's hired their corporation to act as me. Yeah, it's Renge sitting at home at night.
Renge should be the last person to run a Facebook.
Yeah, people come into the club the next day and they're like, how do you remember that conversation last night? Are you really gonna do that to me? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and besides, we all know Renge would be busy on Tumblr and DeviantArt. Everyone's like, oh, true.
Alright, so we're gonna watch some episode 24 goodness. Yay! But we'll probably skip those songs so we can have more time for chat. But it's a Funimation DVD, so like you can't fast forward the preview. So give us a second. Yay, Funimation!
What's a funny?
Okay. We're gonna just like oh, that's right, there's commentary on this one. No.
Oh.
Oh, we should totally watch it with the commentary.
Sorry.
You got the first one.